Well, it's 5 o'clock and it's Monday, January the 12th, 2026. And I will call to order this meeting of the Town of Saugeen Shores Committee of Adjustment. The first order of business is the land acknowledgement, and Councillor Grace will read that today.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We acknowledge that we are meeting on the traditional lands and treaty territory of the Saugeen Ojibwe Nation, which consists of the Chippewas of Saugeen and the Chippewas of Nawash unceded First Nation. We understand this land holds immense significance to the people of Saugeen Ojibwe Nation. We appreciate those who live and work alongside us today and who continue the traditions of their ancestors as stewards of the land we are privileged to inhabit. We thank them for the contributions they have made, excuse me, in both caring for the land and in shaping this community. We commit to truth and reconciliation, to acknowledging the truth about what happened to Indigenous peoples, I apologize, because of colonization, and to reconciliation, which begins with each and every one of us. As a local government and public organization, we are dedicated to learning about Indigenous culture. Sorry, I've got a throat tickle. To fostering a better relationship with First Nations and their people. Thank you. And we commit ourselves to actions that move us forward on a path to healing along with the Saugeen Ojibwe Nation. Oh.
Thank you, Councillor Grace. Next up is a disclosure of pecuniary interest and the nature thereof. You can do that at this point with anything on the agenda or at any point during the meeting. Seeing none, we do not have any additions, deletions, or amendments to the agenda. So I have a recommendation that the Committee of Adjustment, or to the minutes, that the Committee of Adjustment approve the minutes of November the 17th, 2025 has presented. Can I have a mover and a seconder for that? Moved by Member Schmidt, seconded by Member Beckett. Is there any discussion about the minutes? Any corrections, additions, edits? Seeing none, all those in favor? That's carried. And I'll jump down to the public hearings. There's a portion that I have to read. Next on the agenda is a public hearing for file number A-2025-037. This is a public hearing under the Planning Act. If anyone from the public is interested in this application or wishes to receive a notice of the decision, please send an email to bcplpe@brucecounty.on.ca. First, we will receive a report from the County Planner, Jake Bosfield-Bastido. Then we will hear from the public who are here in person, virtually, or who have submitted correspondence to the county via email. Then committee members will have an opportunity to ask clarifying questions, and I will ask them to reserve their comments on the application until the public hearing has closed. Members of the public are advised that the right to appeal the decision on this application is limited to specified persons and public bodies as defined in the Planning Act, or the owner or applicant of the land subject to the amendment who have provided oral or written comments to the committee on the application before the decision is made. I now declare the public hearing open and ask the planner on the file to present the application. So the floor is yours, Jake.
Thank you. Good evening, committee. The application before you this evening is for a minor variance to reduce the lot area and frontage requirements of this parcel on Bruce Road 25. The variances would facilitate a severance in the future of a parcel which would be added to the abutting property to the south and create a new access onto the county road. For some of the background involved here, the owners of the large property to the south, those would be the benefiting lands, have an agreement to purchase this parcel, this narrow strip, for the purposes of land addition to gain frontage onto Bruce Road 25. These owners intend to submit a development proposal in the future for the large parcel to the south. Bruce County Transportation and Environmental Services has been in an effort to execute rerouting of County Roads 33 and 25 in that area, as indicated within the town's official plan. The proposed severance generally aligns with that intention to reroute, and so would facilitate that in the future. The nature of the application itself and why it's before the committee, the parcel is zoned planned development, which does not have specific performance standards in terms of lot area and frontage, only that they remain as they were when the zoning bylaw was passed. So any reduction requires a minor variance. The proposal is consistent with the 4 tests of a minor variance, and recommend approval of the minor variance. I'm happy to answer any questions when the time comes.
Thank you for the report. We will now hear from members of the public, including the applicant or their agent. Please note that submissions are limited to a maximum of 5 minutes. The host will mute and unmute you as directed by the chair in accordance with rules of order for the meeting. Please remain muted at all times unless specifically directed to do so by the chair. This is more for people online, Mr. Davidson, and not you. Is the applicant or agent present? And do you wish to make a submission?
Yes,
I'm
please.
seeing a nod there. Please state your full name for the record before making your comments. Please keep your submission to a maximum of 5 minutes. And the floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I shall be brief. My name is Ron Davidson. I'm a planning consultant, and I filed the minor variance application on behalf of the current landowners, Dave and Tom Fenton. As you heard, they're severing off a small parcel of land that's going to be added to the property to the south. That property to the south is owned by a corporation who's really owned by Derek Myers and Dane Butner. And Dane's with me here tonight. The Fentons will end up with 2 parcels, one on either side of the little piece that Dane and Derek are acquiring. As you heard through Jake, there will be a development in the future on the lands to the south in the form of a plan of subdivision. So there'll be lots of involvement with agencies and the municipality and the neighbors, of course, in the future when there is a development proposal that comes forward. As you heard, this little severance, it's only 20 meters wide, is necessary. Dane and Derek need access from this county road to their property, and so this is how they're getting it. This will be a future county road. It's going to line up perfectly to the north with Bruce Street extension, and then it's going to continue across the road onto the subject property, and then eventually weave its way westward and hook up with Bruce Road 33. As Jake had indicated, the county has been, I think he said this, the county has been working on this project for a number of years, trying to get a new road in there, and this is the great opportunity. Dane and Derek are responsible for getting the road, building the road, and handing it over to the county in the near future. In the meantime, there's a minor variance, and that's why we're here tonight, simply because, and I call it a technicality, the planned development zone that applies to the Fenton lands, the lot area and lot frontage requirements, instead of being like 10 hectares or 2 hectares and a frontage of say 30 meters or 100 meters or whatever, it simply states in the PD zone that the lot area and lot frontage requirements are as they lawfully existed as the day of the passing of the bylaw. In other words, what you have now is fine, but you can't take anything away from it. Why did they do that? The authors of the zoning bylaw, and rightfully so, just assumed that at some point there's going to be a development proposal for these PD lands, and we'll entertain a rezoning at that time. So the technicality here is we've got to shrink the lot area and lot frontage requirement from, again, quote, as they lawfully existed on the day of the passing of the bylaw, to reflect the size of the 2 parcels that the Fentons are going to end up with. Again, in my mind, it's a technicality. This makes for good land use planning. I'm wrapping this up because, as you heard, the county is going to end up with a new road. It's something that they've been interested in for many years. I'm sure this is in the best interest of the town itself, but I can't speak for the town, obviously. That's it for my presentation. Thank you.
Just before you sat down, you did say The severance was 20 meters. I think you meant 30 meters. Is that correct?
Yes, my apologies.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Is anyone else from the public here with questions, concerns, or objections to the application? Are there any written submissions that were not already discussed in the planning report, presentation, or oral submissions? Let the record note that the planner shook his head no. Do any committee members have clarifying questions for the planner, the applicant, or members of the public before we close the public hearing? Are there any questions from any members? Councillor Grace and then Member Schmidt. Go ahead, Councillor Grace.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On the diagram on page 2 of the planning report from Jake, it shows Bruce Road 25 farther west than the section which is proposed to be severed. Is that accurate?
We'll get Jay to answer that, or sorry, Jake to answer that.
Do you mean the words? Okay.
Okay. I said Bruce Road 25. I meant yes, that there are two roads that are, the severed parcel is right in the middle of two proposed roads.
Yes, that, apologies for that. Received that question from yourself too. Those are not, though neither of those is the future Bruce Street. Bruce Street is just not shown on that site plan. So it's on Bruce County mapping now. There is a road allowance for the future extension of Bruce Street. It is perfectly opposite this proposed severed parcel. So there will be alignment and the similar sort of funnel shape on either side to allow for the possibility of a roundabout.
Yes, through you, Madam Chair. It may be a similar question. I was looking at that same drawing there, and I was trying to figure out where, initially I was wondering if the dotted line was the future Bruce Street and Ridge Street. That's not the case. So I'm just trying to figure out where Bruce and Ridge are in relation to the entrance to that's proposed.
If you have the report there, the diagram on the next page is from the town's official plan. That actually gives a clearer idea of how things line up. So the dotted red line is showing the conceptual alignment in the future. So coming through the middle of the Fenton's property there and lining up across the street with Bruce Street. I think those two dotted lines on the site plan, and it is Ron's site plan, so perhaps he could speak to it, are just kind of capturing those hedgerows that you can see in the farm field. But yeah, it's not Bruce and Ridge Street.
So just the entranceway is between Bruce and Ridge Street? I'm just trying to get my bearings as to where that entrance to the south is compared to the other streets that are on the north side.
The new parcel, so that will be the new entrance onto 25, is directly opposite Bruce Street, so they will line up.
Thank you to the two members of the committee who asked those questions. I just, for future, it was very confusing. So just take into account that most of us really do take a good look at this stuff and try and see how it makes sense. So are there any other questions from committee members? Okay, I will now declare the public hearing to be closed. And the committee will now discuss the application. Are there any comments from members on this application? Seeing none, we will now consider a recommendation on the application. So I have the possibility for, I'll read one and there is a possibility of other recommendations, but subject to a review of submissions arising from the public hearing, I have a motion that the committee approve minor variance A-2025-037 as attached, subject to the following conditions. Number one, that the decision applies only to the proposed development as indicated on Schedule A attached to and forming part of this decision. And the reasons are, number one, the variance maintains the intent and purpose of the official plan. Number two, the variance maintains the intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw. Number three, the variance requested is desirable for the appropriate and orderly development and use of the lands and buildings. And number four, the variance is minor in nature. So if you feel comfortable with that, I would ask for a mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor Grace, seconded by Member Beckett. Is there any discussion on the motion? Okay, seeing none, I'll ask all in favor. That's carried. So then the only other thing on the agenda is our next meeting is scheduled for February the 17th, 2026. And do we know at the moment that we already have applications? Not at the moment. Please, if there's no applications, Dana, the secretary, will send out notice as soon as she can. But other than that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting, this Committee of Adjustment meeting at 5:17 p.m. Mover and a seconder. Moved by Member Beckett, seconded by Councillor Grace. It's got to be a record for one of the shortest meetings we've ever had. All those in favor? The meeting is now adjourned. Thank you very much for attending.